It's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Thursday, June 29th. So today the moon is going to be in Scorpio all day, which is very intense in our emotional realm. We are unearthing a lot of profound aha moments, especially where some of our fears, our doubts, our insecurities are concerned, where it is that we are struggling to really kind of pick a brand new attitude, a brand new narrative. And the moon in Scorpio will definitely reveal to us deep in our psyche where the obstacles, the challenges are. Now, this is also the last day that Neptune will be direct. We have Neptune going retrograde here on the 30th. And this is also a very important kind of factor to put out there, that we have a lot of water energy taking place in the cosmos right now. Of course, we are in Cancer season, so the sun is in water. We have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, in Cancer energy, which is water. We have the moon in Scorpio temporarily, which is water. And we have Neptune and Saturn. Saturn already retrograde in Pisces energy, Neptune planning to go retrograde in Pisces energy, and both are in water signs as well. So water can be very uncomfortable because it pushes us into the emotional realm that many of us spend a lot of time in order to avoid. And the water energy, although very transformative, is also very cleansing. But we do have to feel what it is that we have to heal, what it is that we have to address, what it is that we have to transform. And there is an element of uncomfortability that comes with that, because not everybody is willing to go wading in the darkness of our emotional waters. There are 9 different aspects here today, so a little bit of a quiet day, and 7 of them are going to involve the moon. So the moon in Scorpio is going to interact with Neptune in its place of power in Pisces right out of the gate, which is going to strengthen our intuition, bring a lot of, I'm going to say, psychic knowings and psychic visions to the center scene. We are using these psychic visions, if you will, to help piece together in our physical realms the steps needed in order for us to move forward. It's always a great reminder when we interact with Neptune and Pisces for the dream, for the vision, for the goal that we are inspired and motivated to actually pursue. And it gives us a little bit of a deeper understanding, a deeper perception, if you will, on what it is that we're being called to actually pursue in our lives, where it is that we do have to make some changes and transformations, and where it is that we are being called to make some progress and actually move forward. Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, in the heart and soul of the zodiac, being in Leo energy, preparing to go retrograde late in July, is trining, which is a beautiful energy, with Chiron, the wounded healer, who of course is in Aries energy. We get some fire on fire energy between these two particular aspects. Now, this is an opportunity for us to get down to the nitty-gritty, to understand what it is that we have to do to heal certain relationships. This is a point in time where we're opening up our heart space, we're opening up our head space, we're having the heart-to-heart conversations needed in order for us to put it out all on the table. What it is that our problems are, what it is that we need to see change, where it is that we have to kind of respect each other's boundaries, and we're more open to learning from one another instead of putting up walls and pushing each other away. This is a time where we do have the ability to kind of reconcile, to build a stronger bond in our relationships where trust is concerned, let's say. And we have a very interesting dynamic where we're starting to see the potential in others, the potential in ourselves, the potential for a happy, healthy relationship if we were just to abandon our fears, our doubts, our insecurities, our egoic programming, and really live from our heart space. Focusing in on the fact that, well, even in our ugliest state, we all are pretty perfect. And there is this kind of shift in perception where we're starting to appreciate the beauty in the attempt to be perfect, if you will, in human behavior. And so because Venus is all about, values and relationships and love, like we are going through this reevaluation, it will definitely intensify once she goes retrograde. But we're starting to see the value of relationships from a different set of eyes. We're starting to weigh the pros and cons of the people that we choose to interact with. We are starting to kind of reevaluate who and what makes us happy, brings us a sense of safety, security, pleasure, and joy, and of course, manipulating those particular energy exchanges so that we are trying to achieve balance once again. So as long as we're real and raw and authentic, first of all, with ourselves, second of all, with the people that we want to get on the same page with, all should be well, and we should all benefit from kind of creating new levels of connection, commitment, trust, and intimacy to actually move forward. The moon in Scorpio is going to make a positive interaction with Pluto, who was retrograde in Capricorn energy. Now, Pluto rules over Scorpio energy, so it's always a little bit more intense when we interact with the ruler of the energy that the moon is currently in. Now, the moon interacting with Pluto always brings an intense focus in our inner realm. So we're examining our emotions, we're examining our mental plane in the deepest, darkest parts of our psyche where that subconscious programming has been stored. We are doing our work to do a deep dive within the emotional and mental realm to see where the pain, where the trauma, where the fear is creating a blockage in order for us to actually move forward. Even more than this, Pluto being retrograde in Capricorn energy is going to illuminate the power struggle within our want, need, and desire to control everything, and where it is that we feel powerless due to not being able to control a lot of the external circumstances that we're all experiencing. This, again, being in the year of 7, is all about us stabilizing our inner realm, really kind of understanding that we can only control our reaction to the outside world. And the more and more we kind of surrender and let our power issues kind of be handled by the universe, as long as we have power and control standing in our, I'm going to say, strongest energy within ourselves, we can handle anything that is thrown at us in the exterior realm. The moon interacts with Chiron in such a way that is going to provide a very interesting choice point. So Chiron, being the wounded healer in this Aries energy, has really been pushing us all to kind of change who it is that we are as far as our ego identity is concerned, how we're presenting in the world, if you will, how it is that we're seeing ourselves. Now, yes, we do have a tendency in some not so nice aspects to really expose the wounds that we are feeling, maybe where we're feeling insecure, maybe where we're having imposter syndrome. Maybe we are well aware of the wounds, of the pain, of the memory, of the trauma that keeps coming alive and well in the present moment, preventing us from actually having the confidence that we need to actually move forward. But the choice point comes when we realize the issues, we realize the problems, we realize where the change and transformation is needed. And the choice point is that we have the opportunity to do nothing and to continue to sit in the funk, or we have the opportunity to boss up, to address these problems head on, to really kind of get to the nitty-gritty truth of the matter on why it is that we felt so content to sit in an uncomfortable state for so long. And the choice point here is going to motivate us to either settle and kind of, make peace with our current circumstances and situations, or shut up and boss up, make a change, make a transformation that will essentially alter who it is that we are and how it is that we present ourselves out into the world. Now, the moon in Scorpio is going to get into the boxing ring and square off with Venus, who of course is in Leo energy. This isn't going to feel good. This is really putting us in a situation, and let's just keep in mind here that the Scorpio energy is a fixed sign, so we don't really want to move. We don't want to change. We don't want to transform, which kind of goes against what Scorpio energy is all about. But that is the beauty of the light and the dark and the dualistic, extreme, polarizing energy that Scorpio naturally is. Venus is over there in Leo energy, also a fixed sign. And so what we can kind of see here is the reason why we're getting in the boxing ring is because emotionally speaking, we've identified where it is that we're afraid, where it is that we have some fears, some doubts, some insecurities to actually make this change. And Venus, being in the heart and soul of the zodiac in Leo energy, she needs to get heart aligned. She needs to be real and raw and authentic with herself, especially when it comes to the relationships that she continues to pour into, when most of those relationships aren't even in the energy exchange. And so we are kind of at a standstill here. And this is why we're getting into the boxing ring, because emotionally speaking, we're not really willing to budge. We might know what the problem is. We might know who the problem is. We might know how to make the change. We might know how to improve the situation, but we're not emotionally ready to do it right now. So we're kind of at a standstill. The moon is going to go ahead and make an interaction with Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, who is in this Cancer energy now. So again, another water on water action here. But what we're getting is the heart, again, the moon, and the head, Mercury, not on the same page. We're trying to get on the same page, but we're not on the same page. Mostly because the moon in Scorpio, being a fixed sign, again, doesn't really want to make a change unless the change is absolutely like important to make, which at this point it really is. But the Cancer energy is a cardinal sign, which means that we're recognizing from a little bit more of a gentler type of perspective where we need to change our mind, where we need to change the way that we're communicating or asking people for certain things. We are really needing to kind of soften our way of looking at the world, while the emotional toll that Scorpio is in is very intense, and kind of harsh, let's say, in the approach of things. So it's almost like an all or nothing, emotionally speaking, while Mercury is kind of like, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. We can find balance here. We just have to find balance by putting ourselves first and really addressing where we have to get back to the nitty-gritty basics of what it is that we need to focus on, what it is that we need to build, what it is that we need to communicate. And again, the moon in Scorpio, a little bit harsh in let's just cut it off. Let's just kind of turn our back. Let's move forward. So there is that disconnect there. The moon in Scorpio is going to be directly opposing, sitting across the table, if you will, in a direct conversation and semi-confrontation with Uranus. Now, Uranus is the great awakener. He likes to shock us. He likes to disrupt us. He likes to throw, wild card energies at us in order for us to see where change is 100% needed, where we have to open up our mind, where we have to open up new methods, new behaviors, new ways of doing things. And it's an electric bolt, if you will, that kind of comes into our higher minds, our higher selves, and takes a little bit of time in order to kind of dribble down into our egoic realm where we can make sense of it. What we're getting here is a high level of resistance. We are tapping into recognizing where change is needed, but again, we're both in fixed signs here. The Taurus energy that Uranus is in is a fixed sign. Scorpio energy is a fixed sign. And this is why we're clashing. And so there's all this kind of, let's say, electric energy being infused into the atmosphere and in our physical bodies that is kind of creating restlessness and anxiety so that we will act on impulse. We will take a risk. We will make a dramatic change. But again, the fixed energy is fighting that change so greatly and so deeply that it can feel very chaotic. It can feel very confusing. We can kind of feel like we're all scatterbrained and all over the place. Now, things are going to get even more complicated because Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, who is in Cancer energy, trying to blend our intellect with our intuition, is going to semi-square Uranus in Taurus energy. And the semi-square brings a little bit of a tension, a little bit of a conflict, and really kind of confuses things and really overwhelms our headspace and really illuminates where it is that we are bored in life and where it is that we're having a hard time sharing our thoughts or communicating or articulating our inner realms outwardly. And so we're kind of like all over the place. Things may end up half done, half-assed, if you will. There's a lot of impatience. There's a lot of impulse that we're trying to resist at this particular point. And it's just creating a lot of frustration frustration because we're stuck in the same old routine that we know that we have to bust away from, but we don't know what that looks like. And so we're just all over the place. We really need to calm that mental plane down. Now, we do get a little bit of a simmering effect here, a calm, soothing effect here, if you will, because the moon in Scorpio is going to make an interaction with the sun in Cancer energy. So again, water on water we got going on here. Now, the moon, typically speaking, attached to the past. The sun, typically speaking, illuminates the future, and the overlap leaves us in the here and now. What we're recognizing is what we have to let go, what we have to put an end to, what we have to cut the cord with, what we have to stop fixating on as far as our past experiences go. And instead, we have to start focusing in on what we need to do differently to move forward, especially in the realm of taking care of ourselves, addressing our own wounds, where it is that we're sitting around expecting somebody to come save us, and recognizing where it is that we essentially have to boss up and be our own hero. And in this kind of overlap, again, think that it's water on water. What it does is it brings an intensity to our emotional field. It shows us where our inner emotional realm is kind of choppy, kind of wavy and storm-like. And in that, realizing what we could do to kind of soothe it, what we could do to calm it down, which of course is always kind of going back to what we do in our physical realms to comfort ourselves. What is old, tried, tested, and true? Where can you comfort yourself and nurture yourself back to a place of health and wellness, safety, security, and stability? And so this water energy, yes, kind of gets us all riled up so that we can address the emotions that we're not so happy with. And then we can kind of lean into where it is that we can calm and soothe ourselves and kind of restore that beautiful mirror effect in the realm of the emotional waters that are definitely getting triggered as we kind of move through all of this water energy and really realize where the emotional transformation is needed first and foremost before we can actively start taking action in our physical realms to manipulate our circumstances to then reflect the inner state that we are trying to arrive at.